Hey there, true believers. You're tuned into Baxter Building Radio via the Negative Zone feed, and you are listening to episode number 25 of the Fantastic Four Fancast. I'm your host. My name's Nate Charles, and as always, I am joined by my co-host. His name is Shane Murray. How are you doing today, Shane?
I'm doing all right. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing just fine. You sound like you're doing all right.
I'm trying. So
How have you been keeping busy since the last time we spoke?
nothing. I've done nothing. I've
Was it
accomplished.
everything you thought it could be?
No, it's the worst. I didn't. I'm staring at a that backlog that reformed after I've killed the backlog, and I just didn't have the juice to do anything about it. And it's been one fun week. Hasn't even been a whole week yet. It's been fun. How about yourself?
Well, I have offhandedly mentioned, I think, a couple times on the show that I was putting together a cosplay charity group working with our friend Emily Sharp. And we actually did our first event for Children's Miracle Network in Hershey and Extra Life this past Sunday. So the group that we have put together here is called Fantastic for a Cause. Emily and I, as Reed and Sue Richards, went to the event and we met some great miracle kids, excellent volunteers, guests, and yeah, we got our butts whooped at Mario Kart by a miracle child named Gannon, and we ended up being part of an incentive where a donation was made, and we ended up thumb wrestling both at the same time. Former WWE superstar Gene Snitsky. We lost miserably in a 2 out of 3 falls match, for lack of a better term, but it was a good time, and something I'm really proud that we have getting off the ground here.
That sounds exciting. I'm
Yeah. So if anybody has a charitable cause that we can help you raise money for, please reach out. We can discuss the details and see how we can help. You know what else is exciting though, Shane?
a lot of things are exciting. You left that wide open for me, buddy.
I did. But this is our 25th episode. Can you believe that we've been doing this for 25 episodes already?
No, I cannot.
Yeah. So we started way back in May of this year. Our first episode dropped on May 14th. And aside from our about month hiatus there between September and October, we've been pretty consistent with this. We've amassed a good group of listeners. And yeah, we've talked about a lot of Fantastic Four comics. We've had a guest on the show with Darren Elk talking about being in the Marvel bullpen. A lot of good times. You got any favorite moments from our past 25 episodes?
I mean, talking to Darren's always a blast. I actually re-listened to just the parts of that episode the other day where it was just us having the conversation with Darren, seeing that I'm not going to see him this fall, and it's kind of weird. It's kind of gotten used to seeing him like 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah, we are surprisingly conless this fall, for lack of a better term. So maybe in the spring we'll be able to catch him at a show in Lehigh Valley or something.
Yeah, it was just like I said, it was just weird to not see him in person. Got kind of used to being always being around.
But yeah, talking to Darren Alk is always a good time. And if you listeners would like to go back and check that out, that was back in episode 2, where we also cover Fantastic Four Volume 1, Number 1. But great insights from Darren, not only on the Fantastic Four, but also as an industry professional.
Do you have any favorites from the moments from this?
Well, honestly, Shane, I would have probably also went with Darren's episode, but I think my absolute favorite one is probably back in episode 22 when you kind of took control of the show for an episode and really put me in my place. That was probably took
That was
I,
fun for
I
you?
I say it like that in a negative connotation, but honestly, it was kind of a load off my shoulders, letting someone drive for a little bit.
Yeah, you know, I try to help out where I can.
You do. You do. But I'm also a real big fan of our Halloween episode when we did episode 21, the Reed and Johnny Blood story. Thought that was a lot of fun for us to cover.
Yeah, it was also interesting to just do a more modern book, seeing that we've been going through like the history of the FF. But do you have a favorite book of these first 25 that we've done so far?
Honestly, I think my favorite book we covered probably was that Halloween episode, Fantastic Four Volume 7, number 26. That being said, if I were to mention another one, Marvel 2-in-1 number 50, Thing versus Thing, that was a really fun issue that I really enjoyed. And I would be remiss if I did not say that I also enjoyed covering Fantastic Four 1, 2, 3, 4. One, because I love that story, and two, because I kind of liked watching you squirm as we talked about it.
Yeah,
How
no,
about you,
definitely
buddy?
definitely not my favorite. So the Marvel 2-in-1 number 50, obviously I very much enjoyed. Seeing thing on thing action was priceless for me. But then if I had a second one, it was probably Superman Fantastic Four.
All right.
I really enjoyed that whole story, and like especially like the whole Henshaw being like the opposite of Reed in all forms and fashion. So
Yeah, Superman Fantastic Four was a good time. If you want to check out Marvel 2-in-1 number 50, we did that back in episode 11, and Superman Fantastic Four The Infinite Destruction was in episode 9. But yeah, it sounds like the winner take all on this kind of is Marvel 2-in-1 number 50. That first John Byrne, both written and penciled Ben Grimm work.
it was so good. It's the contrast. It was the fact that he kept the contrast of the two things, like the original thing and the modern thing. He didn't draw them both as the modern thing. I think that's what really sends that one home for me.
Yeah, I was very impressed because even his Ben Grimm that he drew had a very Jack Kirby-esque element to it. Just classic stuff. Well, enough plugging prior episodes. You want to get down to today's book?
Sure.
All right, Shane, do you remember what we're covering today?
Uh, yeah, because I texted you about it earlier. Fantastic Four, Volume 2, Number 5.
That is correct. That was cover dated for March of 1997, but was released January 2nd of 1997 with a cover price of $1.95. Now, I looked this up on price writing as always, Shane, but would you like to take a guess at what a graded 9.8 copy of this book has for?
Sure. I am going to say it went for 47.98.
By Price is Right rules, Shane, you have lost.
Yes, thank God.
I've never heard somebody so happy to lose. So, a graded 9.8 copy, a recorded sale, has topped out at $28.
Really? It cost you more to get the book graded than it did to sell it.
Yeah, correct. You want to take a guess about the ungraded copy?
Uh, back issue bin. So I'm gonna say 212.
You really think a back issue bin is going to have an odd amount of change like that?
I don't know. It just sounded good.
Like I could see like maybe, and in rare occasions, I could see this like maybe 50 cents, but
212.
normally you're going to see an even dollar amount in a back issue bin.
Yeah, you
Uh,
know, but we're gonna make it fun. So we're gonna say 212.
okay, well, this one you actually did win by Price is Right rules. $3.
Fair enough. I've got a couple right where they were like 282 or 285 or 284 or something like that.
It was just the fact that you clarified that it was a back issue bin that got me there. In no back issue bin are you going to find it's going to be labeled as $2.12. Or were you saying $212? Because in
No,
that
no,
case,
no.
you were over.
No. 202 $2.12. And yeah, I'm aware that they're not going to be $2.12 marked in the bin. I'm talking if you said about sold. So they could have had like a deal on the back issue in a bin.
Okay. All right, whatever's going to help you sleep at night, pal.
I've already slept, so I'm good.
Moving on. Our creative team for this issue, plot by Jim Lee with script by Brandon Choi. Pencils were by Jim Lee. There's an army of inkers on this book this week.
Mhm.
Scott Williams, Tim McWeeny, Alex Garner, and John Dickinson all had a hand in inking this issue. Colorists on this were Joe Kyoto and Martin Jimenez, with Wildstorm FX handling computer colors, which I believe we discussed briefly last time. We're not entirely certain what was handled computer coloring wise in this book.
No.
Letterers, a little bit of a change up here from last issue. Same people, Richard Starkings and Comic Craft, and Dave Lamphere. This time, however, Dave Lamphere is separated out from being with Richard Starkings and Common Craft. So, not sure how the relationship there changed. Maybe it was a mistake in the prior issue. Maybe there was a separation there. Who knows? If you do, let us know. Editor for this book was Mike Heisler, and editor in chief was Bob Harris. Shane, would you like a synopsis of our story from Marvel Unlimited?
Oh, we have a synopsis?
Nope, we don't. So, joke's on you. You're going to have to give us one.
Oh man. Synopsis for this book? Oh boy. Um, let's see. Ben and Johnny finally figure out who was the stranger that entered the Baxter building and tripped the alarms. They also, from finding out that there's the stranger, they find out that everything has been a trap up until this point. They need to go and rescue Reed and Sue, who were always in a trap from the beginning, from the plot of Doctor Doom. Your head just goes further and further down. It's hilarious.
Yep. Oh, we're having a good time this week. Go ahead and take us through the cover of Fantastic Four Volume 2, number 5, please, Shane.
Oh yeah. So I was really excited to talk about this cover because I think this might be my favorite cover of these first five issues of this series. Because I just love the prominent Doom hand in the be and like just straight reaching out like he's going to grab you and choke you. And then behind him you have the rest of the Fantastic Four. You have Johnny with like a almost shocked slash scared face, Reed looking very intense, Ben, uh, just doing Ben things. And Sue is absolutely terrified of whatever she's looking at. And then in the corner, we have one of my favorite things ever, which is a corner box. And you got Black Panther in the corner box.
Again, taken from an issue interior.
Yeah. This cover is just very striking cover.
Yeah, I do enjoy this cover. I think it's an excellent representation of Doom and the Fantastic Four. The emotions on the four for me are a little bit different. I do agree with you about Reed's intensity. Everyone else looks just more or less shocked, confused, maybe. I don't know. Sue looks like she opened like Johnny's bedroom door and caught him doing something untoward.
Fair
And
enough.
then and then yeah, the Black Panther in the corner box. It's nice to see him represented on this, considering that he plays such a pivotal role in this issue. How do you feel about Doom's eyes? Like they are very menacing, but how do you feel about like the skin flaps kind of coming over them? Like there's definitely like it's like his skin
Oh,
melted from
oh,
his brow down to his cheekbone.
I don't know. I that you see it in the interior also, and it reminded me of like a Two-Face look, and I wasn't really digging that so much.
Yeah. Full disclosure, me neither. Just
I'll,
because
I'll
I feel
s-
like the scientific genius of Doctor Doom would have figured out a way to eliminate, I don't know, skin tags.
it just to me seems too like Two-Face. Like that doesn't need to be there. That's a Two-Face. That's a Two-Face or like Jonah Hex trope.
You ever get the feeling like looking at between Doctor Doom looking like Two-Face and his renderings of Black Panther that even at this point Jim Lee was just like, I'd rather be joining Batman.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Which he
And
gets to
that's
do
how
now.
Yeah, and we open the book, and what do we see here, Shane?
Oh, we're greeted by a great panel of Johnny and actually it's like a full page spread of Johnny and Ben looking menacingly at the previously I brought up person who broke into the Baxter building.
And it is from the perspective of that person. So we're getting like a dead-on shot of Johnny flamed on, looking like he's ready for a fight, and Ben, one fist clenched, the other one stretched out with a accusing point towards the reader. Our narrator says, once, not long ago, they were simply Johnny Storm and Benjamin J. Grimm to their friends and family. Now, however, the public at large knows them better as the Human Torch and the Thing. They are two members of the world famous Fantastic Four, who at this very moment are confronting a most unexpected intruder inside their Baxter Building headquarters. And for more on this intruder breaking in, go back and check out episode 20, where we covered Fantastic Four, Volume 2, Number 4, The Heart of Darkness. Ben says to the intruder, all right, pal, I'm going to ask you again. Only this time, if I don't get the answer I'm looking for, I'm going to take it out of you one piece at a time. Take it easy, Ben. We have no idea who this guy is or what he's about. Don't you get it, Johnny? It's him. And quickly, Shane, we do get our title card of this issue, which is what?
Auld Acquaintance.
Now, for maybe some of our listeners who have heard this in a song on New Year's and nothing more, what does old acquaintance mean?
I mostly know it from the song from New Year's and nothing more. But doesn't it mean like old friend or something?
Yes, it is a Scottish phrase for old friend. Yes. So we turn the page and describe the gentleman that we see Ben pointing at.
Okay, yeah. So we're now looking at it from Ben's perspective. He's pointing at a guy that has a scraggly beard, rough hair, trench coat, green shirt. He's got his awesome 90s gloves on that I know you're stoked about. I can't wait to hear about you complain about those gloves again. And he looks quite familiar to someone else we've seen previously in this comic
Okay, so
run.
he has on a jacket and a scarf to accompany the gloves here, which makes me think maybe it's fall or more likely winter in New York at this point. This book was released on January 2nd of 1997. He's dressed seasonally. I'm okay with that. He's wearing a green flannel shirt. He's bundled up, okay? When he came in, he was wearing a hat. It's winter in New York. It gets cold.
I could make one comment about the gloves and you go to protecting this guy's style choice.
He's not wearing gloves in the middle of the Arizona desert or the California desert, wherever they were in issue 1, where I called Johnny out on it.
Or called him out at the toy store.
Yeah. Then again, this was the same day, so maybe I was wrong in that case because it was winter in New York, and I owe Johnny an apology. Maybe.
Fair enough. Anyway, yeah. So that's what we're looking at right here.
So Ben says, it's Wyatt Wingfoot, the psycho who murdered Dr. Herbert back at Vandermeer. And when was that, Shane?
Back in the first issue of this run.
And the accused gentleman says, I don't know what you're talking about, or even how you know my name, but you must listen to me. I'm an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., and it is imperative that I speak with Reed Richards. You think we're gonna fall for that one again? Take a good look at me, Buster. You're the clown responsible for turning me into a walking, talking pile of rocks. Please, you must believe me. I'm here to seek your help. The fate of the entire world may be at stake. What are you doing? And what is Johnny doing?
So Johnny reaches out with his hand flamed on and kind of like touches the bottom of his chin and starts giving him like a shave.
And that is, in fact, a callback to Fantastic Four, Volume 1, Number 4, where Johnny does the same thing to Namor the Submariner. And if you all would like to go back and listen to that episode, you can find that as episode 8. Johnny says, "Getting to the bottom of things, so to speak. Now hold still, or this is going to hurt." Holy cow, Ben! You were right. It is Wingfoot. But this just doesn't make sense. Why would he risk coming here after everything that's happened? I don't know and I don't care. All I know is that it's time for some payback. Listen to me. The man you're after is an imposter, a doppelganger whose mission it was to sabotage Project Excelsior. What?
I think it's just a really cool lettering thing that they have it set up like that. So you can tell that that's both of them saying it at the same time.
Yeah. That's your story? Next, you'll be claiming that a bunch of space aliens abducted you or something. I've got him under wraps for now, Ben. Let's hear him out. And Johnny has him surrounded in a cage of flame. About 4 weeks ago, I was sent by S.H.I.E.L.D. into Eastern Europe to discover who had been hacking into the Storm Foundation's databanks and stealing classified information regarding the Project Excelsior. Unfortunately, I was betrayed by some of my own people there and captured, only managing to escape just 3 days ago. I've been on the run since then, trying to make my way here to warn all of you. You're a little late for that, pal. Reed and Sue already left for Wakanda. What? No! No! They're walking into a trap! During my captivity, I overheard my double mentioning the need to obtain some artifact out of the Wakandan jungle. Is that so? Well, there's one way of finding out what's going on. I'll just give Susie and Reed a buzz in the Fantasticar. And Ben goes over to a comm computer and attempts to reach Reed and Sue. Uh-oh, the comm line's down. The two of them probably just want some privacy. I know. I'll try them at the Royal Palace, just in case they've arrived already. Moments later, what do we see here, Shane?
We see a representative from Wakanda talking to Ben on a call monitor and letting him know that they never made it to the palace.
And what does this person look like?
He's got another one of them weird headsets with like a little tiny mic that comes out the front right to his lip. But the headpiece wraps all the way around, and he's also wearing one of those like tunics that like uh T'Challa was wearing when we first met him.
He has a nice pair of eyeglasses, too. It's nice to see some representation. I'm sorry, Mr. Grimm, but your friends have not yet arrived. If you wish, I can relay a message to them. Nah, that's all right, but I appreciate it. Johnny Storm and I just might come down for a little visit ourselves to make sure. But Wingfoot pipes up. No, don't you understand? It's now up to the three of us to save them. We can only hope that we're not too late, and that your friends aren't already in the clutches of Victor Von Doom. And we turn the page to see.
Oh, we get to see a nice up close shot of Victor from it looks like the end of the last panel because he's still holding that goblet there in his hand. And you do get to see those the flaps that we were talking about over his eyes, which are just so unnecessary. But it's a great other than that, that's a great Doom image. It's very striking him staring down upon his captives.
I think one thing that stands out to me that I really do like about this image is that you see the reflection of Reed and Sue in the goblet.
Yes, you do.
That is a nice touch. Our narrator takes over with Doom. The mere mention of his name is enough to strike terror into the hearts of even the most courageous of men. Leaders of neighboring countries say that the absolute ruler of Latveria is a man of indomitable will and unparalleled intellect, while whispering that the tyrant's heart is as cold and impenetrable as the armor he wears to shield himself from the outside world. Doom says, So, Reed Richards. After all these years, we finally meet again. While we each chose very different paths in our lives, fate has brought us together once more. And we now see from over Doom's shoulder the rest of the room. And who do we have here?
So in this room right now, we have Reed, Sue, and Black Panther, and Doom obviously staring at him, and a Doombot there.
So we're going to make a distinction here because as I was reading a little bit further into this, um, Doombots are robots of doom. This would be a servo bot.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So a servo bot it is then.
Reed says, "What is all this about, Victor? Why have you brought us here?" "You're as predictable as ever, Richards. I knew you'd eventually make your way to Wakanda, so I planned for your capture accordingly. After all, we are the only ones who know the true nature of the object you sought, yes? Can your mind grasp the geopolitical implications this discovery will have on all mankind? My only goal is to find answers to questions, Victor. Your little Machiavellian games fail to interest me." Black Panther says, "You are aware that kidnapping is a flagrant violation of international law, Doom." "Reed, do you know this man?" "No, darling, I don't know this despot. I only knew a young man back in graduate school named Victor Von Doom. He was a bright, young, ambitious foreign exchange student who left his native land and came to America in order to study within the ivy-covered walls of State University." Shane, take us through how young Victor Von Doom looks.
Sure. So young Victor Von Doom looks like he has the worst scowl ever and quite the widow's peak going on, or a very early receding hairline. But I'm assuming they were trying to go with the widow's peak there. He just definitely already has a very menacing look about him.
Reed continues. Driven by an insatiable quest for knowledge, he soon made the acquaintance of other brilliant minds, a circle of friends who would come to refer to themselves as the Atomic Knights of the Round Table. Man, that is a bad name.
Oh, thank God. I also didn't like that name.
Like for a book published in 1997, that is the most 1960s thing.
No, maybe he was watching a Kid in King Arthur's Castle right before they wrote this book.
Maybe. So Shane, we get a glimpse at these members of the Atomic Knights of the Round Table, and who do we have here?
Oh, we have none other than Tony Stark, Bruce Banner, Rebel O'Reilly, Henry Pym, and none other than Reed Richards himself.
Doom continues. Unfortunately, for all their vast intellectual prowess, this collection of brilliant dilettantes lacked true vision, the driving ambition necessary to change the world. To what end, Victor? To merely satisfy one man's lust for power? That was never what the circle was about. And we get a flashback where we're seeing what, Shane?
They're like just in a cellar, it looks like in the basement of like a dorm room or maybe downstairs in the bottom of the lab because there's a barrel there and there's a dartboard in the background.
Yeah, to me it looks like my of some kind, honestly, between the dartboard, that barrel there looks like, which could also be part of a bar. At the back there, it looks like my tap of some kind. I don't know. The figures are very well illustrated. The setting here, I don't know. It leaves a lot up to the imagination, I guess is the kind way to say it.
Yeah.
And Tony Stark says to Rebel O'Reilly, "Look, Reb, all I'm saying is, why not try to make a little profit off this new exosuit?" Reed replies, "I think the challenge of perfecting it should be incentive enough. Just think of the lives it could save." And then Victor pipes in. "Are you all blind? We are in possession of technology that could change the world." Tony Stark turns to Victor and says, "And how would you go about doing that, Victor? By selling it to the military? striking some sort of shady deal that you could go back and use the technology to conquer Latveria? How dare you speak to me in such a manner? What I do for the good of my homeland. His narration picks up. Since none of us could agree on what to do next, our exosuit project fell apart, soon followed by Victor himself. He just couldn't let the project go. And what are we seeing here?
We are now seeing Reed trying to tell Victor to get out of the exosuit, but Victor is dead set on trying to make sure that this exosuit works because he wants the technology essentially for himself.
Reed throws an accusing finger at Victor. You can't do this, not without everyone's participation. Didn't you read Tony and Bruce's notes about the risk involved with activating the exosuit? Bah, they worry needlessly. By my own calculations, it is perfectly safe. And Victor lays a hand on Reed's shoulder. Join me, Richards. You're the only one with whom I feel an intellectual kinship. Together, the world can be ours. I'm sorry, Victor, but that's not what I want. This technology belongs to everyone, not to the whims of one man. I'm getting the others. It's time we dismantled all of this once and for all. And Reed leaves the room. As you wish, Richards. I had hoped that you were my friend, that you would at least understand me. But now I see that, as always, Victor Von Doom is alone. And he presses a button on a keyboard and it makes a sound.
Yep, tack.
I was barely out of the room when it happened. And what
Yeah.
does happen?
A giant kaboom as the room just basically blows up and poor Victor's caught in the blast because it radiates off of him essentially.
And Reed rushes back into the room. Due to the extent of the damage, no one was ever able to figure out what exactly caused the explosion, but the results were catastrophic. He cries out to Victor and then gasps with a, Good Lord! Victor yells, Get away from me! Look at what you've done! Victor should have died in that explosion, but he didn't. Perhaps it was hatred that kept him alive. In the end, he was expelled from state and then left the country soon after, too ashamed to admit his failure or face the rest of us. And describe what we see here of Doom.
We see Doom in like a full body wrap, almost like a mummy, and covered in has like a really thick winter jacket on as he's trying to make his way out of State University and across the globe, trying to find whatever he's looking for.
I heard rumors that he had gone to Tibet, seeking relief for the incredible pain plaguing his body, or perhaps even to find final peace. And Doom chimes in. A poignant tale, Richards, but believe me, I found so much more. Needless to say, that was the end of the young man you once knew as Victor. Now there was only Doctor Doom. Then get to the point, Doom. What is it you want from me? Spare me your righteous indignation. While you're loath to admit it, we're one and the same. Two men driven by an unquenchable thirst for knowledge. But knowledge needs a purpose, and that purpose, a driving force. And now I have it! And Doom outstretches his hand to a doorway, and it is crackling with energy.
Oh yeah.
Behold, the key to unlimited power. What do we see when we turn the page, Jane?
We see an alien strapped to this machine that has like a thing in the middle of his chest that they're trying to siphon off power from him or something. And then just energy flowing all around him and all above him and just all over the room while these robots are trying to figure out what's going on around him.
Well, Two things. First of all, I don't think these are robots. I think these are men in protective suits.
Oh, that's even worse.
And two, it's not just any alien, Shane. Who is it?
Oh, it's Silver Surfer.
Narration picks up with. But his words fall on deaf ears as Reed Richards' attention is immediately transfixed upon the horrific sight of Doom's mechanical monstrosity and its helpless captive. And one of the attending doctors, I guess you would call them, says, biometric readings are stabilized, but it's 75% efficiency. The energy readings are off the scale, but we've got a problem. The distillation process is eroding. Our inhibitors aren't able to compensate for the power flux. The extraction is awash. Good Lord, that's the humanoid we saw emerging from the stellar anomaly. You're trying to siphon its very life force. Black Panther says, this silver skinned alien is the object that crash landed in Wakanda. Incredible. Victor, this is insane, even by your standards. See melodrama, Richards. I am the ram man who exploits those opportunities that fate presents to him. And who else is in the room here, Shane?
Oh, we now have Wyatt Wingfoot in the room also.
He's a little bit more well dressed than the last time we saw him at the Baxter building.
Immensely more well kept. Yes.
Status report, Wingfoot. We have reached another impasse with the distillation procedure. Dr. Emmerich's latest attempts to extract the alien's cosmic energy has failed once again. You are wasting my precious time, Doctor. And one of the doctors in the protective suit says, I, I'm sorry, Master. It's just a momentary setback. The task is simply more complex than we had originally anticipated. With more time, I am positive that my next attempt will yield. No, Doctor. What? No, stop. You can't! There will be no next time. You know the penalty for failure. And we hear a noise start to emanate from Dr. Emmerich's suit.
Yeah. Bzzz.
And in the next panel, that escalates to,
Shrek. Yeah! As he like melts inside the suit.
did you truly think that it had escaped my notice that you had not spent your time in service of my needs, but rather tampering with your suit's self-destruct mechanism? Such idiocy cannot go unpunished. Now, how much longer will this take, Wingfoot? Well, now that you've just killed our lead scientist, I'd say we have at least a 4-hour delay. That is unacceptable. By then, your former associates at SHIELD will surely detect the presence of this extraterrestrial in Latveria and demand to take it into custody. I cannot afford such a confrontation at this time, and so now must resort to my alternate plan, which is why you are here, Richards. If the anomaly's cosmic power gave you and your friends such incredible abilities, then you must have studied its effects in detail and discovered some insight into their particular properties. Tell me what you have learned. Think again, Victor. I didn't help you before, and I certainly won't help you now. And there's nothing you can do to change my mind. No. Number 7. Terminate Ms. Storm upon my command. And what happens, Shane?
So number seven grabs Sue from behind and opens up its palm and starts having energy like start pulsating out of its hand like it's going to shoot right through Sue's head.
He grabs her hard enough that Sue lets out a "Ugh." Sue, no! So tell me, Richards, are you willing to watch her die in your place? And Doom grabs Sue from under the chin. The only one who's in trouble around here is you, for making the mistake of underestimating me. And Sue does what?
Sue makes a bubble and on top of making the bubble to separate herself from number seven, also puts out like a little light bubble from the side of that punches him in the face, which is one of my favorite parts of this book. The nice katang when it hits him in the metal face plate.
Ugh. Well done, Sue. Victor's arrogance was always his fatal flaw. Warning, warning, the master is in danger. War and the robot is cut off and decapitated by who, Shane?
By Black Panther with a nice plock as he kicks the head off of number seven.
And Reed stretches out, literally, at the torso to engage with Doom. Your victory will be short-lived at best, Richards. Ugh! I'm not the same man I once was either, Doom. Be assured that Mr. Fantastic won't go down so easily. T'Challa, I'll cover you. Take Susan with you and get out. No, Reed, I won't leave you. A touching yet costly mistake, my dear. By trying to save Richards, you only jeopardize both your lives by lowering your guard, as well as your force field. And what does Doom do?
He reaches out with both hands and starts zapping them with electricity or some kind of energy pulse. Zerp, zerp.
Sue! Ah! And both Reed and Sue collapse to the floor. Wingfoot says to Doom, they nearly had you. Not at all. I was simply testing the limits of their abilities, Wingfoot. Take them into custody, number 6. Hold! Where is the Black Panther? He's gone. But how? There is no way out of here. There is one. Most impressive. He has apparently escaped via the fireplace, which means he is in the castle ventilation system. Initiate a security lockdown. Find him immediately. And we see that Black Panther has actually clawed his way through some vents while crawling around the ductwork here. But Wingfoot doesn't leave.
He does not.
Why do you still stand here? I ordered you away. Your warbots can take care of him, Doom. I prefer to remain and see the distillation procedure completed. After all, I was the one who brought the alien here. What you will do is follow my orders. Now go, or suffer my wrath. As you wish, my lord. And Wingfoot exits the room and begins to toy around with his watch.
Yep. You get a nice veep veep click as he's like pulling up his wrist communicator to make a phone call.
Jafar, the preparations for the Herald are nearly complete. The endgame quickly approaches. Meet me at the rendezvous point with the others. Understood, Clerk. And our scene shifts with a later. And what do we see?
We see one of these servo bots have Reed in custody with like a collar around his neck and holding his hands.
Reed comes to. Oh, what? What happened? Good. You're awake at last. I will ask you one final time, Richards. Will you help me? Or would you prefer Ms. Storm died a painful and horrible death? And we gotta look at Sue and take us through that, Shane.
She is strapped into some weird machine. Has her legs locked in, has her hands locked in these big, like mechanical balls, essentially, where she can't move her hands, and has this like eye patch, almost like a sleeping patch, but it clearly is to do damage to her head or her eyes. And that all of this is all hooked up to some insane machine that's going to pump an exuberant amount of energy through Sue if Reed doesn't do what Doom asks.
Victor, if you harm her in any way, there is nothing in this world that will save you from me. Just leave her alone, and I'll do as you ask. Meanwhile, And we see Ben and Johnny in transit to Latveria and describe the ship that they are piloting.
Oh, the U? It's like a giant U with green engines in the front. It's a really weird ship. It is a Fantastic Four ship. It does have the number four on it, but it is a really like very alien ship.
Just Jim Lee has a propensity for over-designed vehicles in this run.
This is definitely over designed, yes, big time. But it does whoosh into the view.
Johnny says, ECM online. What is ECM, Shane?
ECM is electronic countermeasures.
Good of Mike Heisler to put that note there, right?
Yeah.
ECM online. All external sensors read blue sky. Propulsion systems nominal. Looks like we're golden, Ben. Don't get cocky, kid. There's no telling what kind of defensive hardware Doom's got planted down there. So what's the latest word from Wakanda? A search and rescue team managed to find what was left of the Royal Expedition. All of the security personnel were wiped out, but Sue Reed and T'Challa are all reported as missing. Well, what do you know? Maybe Wingfoot is telling us the truth. What's he up to anyway? And Johnny looks back over his shoulder to see what.
Sees Wyatt's absolutely passed out, like he's never slept a day in his life.
He's crashed out in the back. Gotta be exhausted after being on the run for the past 3 days. Sounds like he went through a lot to reach us. Now, Shane, would you believe that this is a callback?
It is a callback.
Yeah, to Fantastic Four Volume 1, number 52, which was the first appearance of Black Panther and Wakanda, where Wyatt Wingfoot joined the Fantastic Four on their trip to Wakanda and slept the entire way.
Fair enough.
And with that out of the way, Ben continues. Yeah, well, it's time to wake Sleeping Beauty because I'm taking her down. GPS puts Doom's castle just over the next ridge, so I'll have to go the rest of the way on foot. And we get an editor's note here, Shade, saying what?
GPS stands for Global Positioning System. But at the time, GPS was not a big thing. It was not like as it is now. So it does make sense that it's in there. But they would never have that editor's note in there now.
Exactly. So Ben and Johnny exit the plane and start breaking off in what looks like a dead sprint while Wyatt's still climbing down from the aircraft. The waste duct I used in my escape is northwest of here, along the ridge. Hey, Ben, what's the rush? We're on the clock, Johnny. If Doom's holding Reed and Sue hostage, he's got to figure that we're on our way. Our only chance is to catch him off. But there's a
Mm,
noise, Shane.
yep. Beep 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 beep.
Hey, what was that noise? And what happens here?
You get a floating Doom head start talking to the three of them.
Greetings, Mr. Grimm, Mr. Storm. I have been expecting your arrival. It's some sort of holographic recording. Remain where you are, and my security force shall take you into custody. I assure you resistance is futile. Try taking this into custody, you tin-plated tyrant. What does Ben do?
He throws a rock right through the hologram with a giant wham.
And they are immediately surrounded by servobots who drop from the sky. Attention, intruders, surrender at once or die. It's your call, Ben, Johnny says as he flames on. And honestly, in this bottom panel on this page, might be my favorite depiction so far that Jim Lee has done of Johnny Storm. Just you can still see the details of the uniform beneath his flame. You can still see the details in his hair beneath his flame, but it's all very well meshed together.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's just a different remember there was like 20 inkers on this book or whatever.
Four,
It
but
could
yeah, sure, close enough.
That's what it feels like. When it's not one inker, it feels like there's 20. It's probably just inked different. Maybe someone cleaned up the lines.
Ben says, he ruins my date with Alicia, and now he expects me to just roll over without a fight? Then I'd say it's time to kick it. Flame on! And Wingfoot pipes in. I should warn you that Doom's warbots have been programmed with rather unique combat abilities. It's crucial that we coordinate our attacks so that. But Johnny doesn't wait for Wyatt to fake his shit and immediately engages one of the warbots. Ease up, secret agent man. We got you covered. And what does he do here?
He starts blasting right through, as Wyatt called them, the warbots, with a giant whoosh, and it's like a zick as it starts to fall apart there.
Check it out, man. Toasted him with one shot. And Ben nails the next one.
Yeah, with a nice scratch as falls apart in a bunch of pieces.
Just keep your eyes open and your head down, Wingfoot, because it's clobbering time. There are two of these warbots left, and they're on either side of Wingfoot now, though. Be careful. The remaining warbots have now adapted their defense mechanisms to your modes of attack. We've only got one chance of beating them now. And the robots zero in on him. Target sighted, cleared to fire. And what happens?
So they fire at Wyatt, and right as they're about to fire at Wyatt, Johnny swoops in and grabs Wyatt and pulls him out of the way before he is absolutely destroyed by the Fazam and the Fazam of the two warbots.
Gotcha, Wyatt. That was a gutsy play, mister. Didn't really have much of a choice. I had to hope the warbots couldn't adapt quickly enough to their own weapons system. And our scene shifts with a later, where we see Wingfoot leading Ben and Johnny to a storm drainage pipe. We gotta go through a sewer drain? Maybe fighting them warbots wasn't so bad after all. My options were rather limited at the time. They weren't about to let me use the front door. And as they travel through the pipe, Ben says, watch your flames, Johnny. There's any stray methane gas down here, we're all history. Man, I thought that was just you. Oh, keep it up, Matchstick, and Doom is gonna be the least of your problems. Suddenly, what happens?
Suddenly they enter a chamber where they are now surrounded by warbots.
Intruder alert! Intruder alert! Oh, cripes, there must be at least a dozen of them. Then it'll be impossible for us to defeat them all. But suddenly, a vent over top of them comes crashing down.
Yep, with a giant krang as it's knocked from the ceiling.
Look, above us. What now? Who is it, Shane?
It is none other than Black Panther himself.
Don't be alarmed. I am the Black Panther. You must be the other members of the Fantastic Four. Come with me. Time is of the essence. We are to save ourselves as well as your friends. We must work together. You heard the man, Wingfoot. Move it already. And Wyatt grabs Black Panther's wrist to be pulled up. Wingfoot. Interesting. While you may resemble Dr. Doom's crony, all my senses tell me that you are in fact the true Wingfoot. Finally, someone who believes me. And Johnny flies up into the vent after Wingfoot. None of that's going to matter if these warbots catch us. Come on, Ben, let's go. Watch it up there. And Ben leaps up into the vent. Because here I come. Ugh!
Yep, like a nice scrunch as he crunches into the vent.
And one of the warbots pursues, engaging in pursuit of intruders. Let's get out of here. Preparing to. What happens, though, to this warbot?
It gets shocked from behind with a nice shakow.
I'm afraid I can't allow that. And who do we see with the smoking gun?
So funny that he doesn't have a cigarette hanging out of his mouth, but we have the doppelganger Wyatt Wingfoot.
For the time being, the survival of the Fantastic Four is vital to my plans for success. And he's accompanied by four other well-dressed agents wearing suits and ties. And one of them says, "We've neutralized the remaining warbots. The area is secure, clerk. What now?" Now we close the trap on Victor Von Doom himself. As Wyatt Wingfoot, I gained his confidence and learned the secrets to his formidable security system. Now I shall deactivate the bulk of his warbots, leaving him with only his personal guards and vulnerable to attack. Elsewhere, what are we seeing?
We are seeing Reed still with that weird contraption around his neck and Doom behind him, forcing him to build this energy transfer console so that he can transfer the energy of the Silver Surfer into Doom.
I've input the final equations and operational codes into your flux inhibitor. The energy transference should now proceed with intolerable parameters. We can begin transferring the alien's life force at your convenience, Doom. Well done, Richards. Miss Storm is fortunate indeed to have you as her champion. But her safety will not be guaranteed until this experiment is a complete success. You know that's impossible, Doom. I can only give you my word that I've done my best. Once you take hold of these handles, the circuit will be closed and the energy transference will begin. The complete discharge should require about 5 minutes. The final results, however, will depend on your stamina, metabolism, and ultimately your own willpower. Once again, we stand together at the threshold of a great moment, Richards. Only this time, you shall go first. And Reed begins to reach out for the handles. As you wish. And Doom suddenly reaches out and grabs his wrist to stop him. That is far enough. Consider it a test of faith in your work. Your sense of morality and fair play will be your undoing, Richards. But suddenly there's a noise from behind Doom.
Yep, you get a nice scratch.
Eh, what's that? And what is it?
It's Black Panther, Thing, Johnny Storm, and Wyatt crashing through the wall and into the laboratory.
And this image of Black Panther is the one that they took for this issue's corner box on the cover.
It is.
Johnny yells, "The final curtain falling upon your show, Doom. We're here to put the kibosh on you and your little alien autopsy." But Doom signals for his servo bots to attack Ben, Johnny, T'Challa, and Wyatt. All you've done is sign your own death warrants. My warbots shall promptly deal with this minor obstacle on the path to my magnificent transformation. But Johnny, Ben, and T'Challa begin to tear through the servo bots. These droids may scare the locals, but they're just scrap metal to me, especially when there aren't enough of them to put up a real fight. Bring 'em on, Doom, because as far as I'm concerned, it's clobbering time. I believe we've gotten two clobbering times this issue, Shane.
We did. We did get two clobbering times this issue.
And in the midst of this chaos, Reed begins to pull Sue out from the confines of the machinery she's entrapped in. Reed, are you all right? What's happening? Ben and Johnny are here. They're fighting alongside T'Challa against Doom. What about the alien prisoner? Is he still alive? I'll take care of him in a moment, darling. And Reed embraces Sue. But first, I want to make sure that you are all right. I'm fine, Reed. Now go help the others while I look after our extraterrestrial visitor. Wingfoot, you dare to betray me. You are responsible for all this. Wrong guy, Doom. But you know what? I wish I had done it. And Doom, in rage, takes a shot at Wyatt Wingfoot.
Yes, he does with a nice zap.
The only thing you'll do now is die. But Ben hurls himself in front of Wingfoot and takes the brunt of the blast. No way, Doom. You gotta get through me first. Grim, what are you doing? What's it look like, bud? Now get out of here. I'm not leaving you. And the doppelganger Wingfoot is now making his way to Reed's console. Yes, it's all proceeding exactly as I planned. While Doom is distracted by the others, I must make my move. And he grabs hold of the handles that Reed referred to as the energy transference begins to begin. Hear me, Doom. What might have become your greatest triumph is now your most humiliating defeat. What? Two of you? No, the energy transference. Stop! You're too late. And what happens here, Shane?
You get a nice zwarp of energy just running through the doppelganger Wyatt.
Yes, feel the power cosmic coursing through my body. And this energy transference has shredded the majority of Wingfoot's clothes. Enough! Ugh. Consider yourself fortunate, Doom. Your human form would not have been able to withstand the infusion of such raw, primal power. If you are not the real Wyatt Wingfoot, who are you? Why have you done this? Of course, it's perfectly clear. Didn't you listen to the imposter's words, Victor? He said that no human could absorb that much cosmic energy and survive. Very astute, Dr. Richards. You now realize that I, like Doom's prisoner, am not of this world. What the ding dong? And the real Wingfoot pipes in. Uh-oh. I guess I should have told you guys. While the imposter Wingfoot says, I am a warrior born of the tribe Nemesis. I am Clert of the Galactic Scroll Empire. I'll be sure to inscribe that on your tombstone, foul creature. You have foiled my plans, and for that you must perish. But Wingfoot transforms, and what do we see here?
Oh, we see a monstrous scroll. Just super bulky. Kind of reminds me of like Abomination a little bit. Just how absolutely jacked this scroll is.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. It definitely looks like the abomination. He says, You are a greater fool than I could have imagined, Doom. You're nothing more than a harmless and ineffective example of primitive technology to me. And while you may have once posed a credible threat, now I possess the power cosmic. I have become the Super Scroll. And Wingfoot says, I really was abducted by a bunch of space aliens. And Ben glares over his shoulder at him, annoyed, and says, Why didn't you say that in the first place? To be continued. Whew, that was quite the issue, was it not, Shane?
Yeah, for a 22-page issue, there was a lot going on.
Yeah, what'd you think of that?
I enjoyed that story. I don't know about yourself. There were some weird choices. There was some stuff that got missed in editing. Like there's the one spot where they do a zoom in on Doom's eyes. Page 8, the middle panel there, he only has one side of the eyes have the thing growing over it. The other one doesn't have the little flap of skin. So it was just little things. Otherwise, great story. Held together really well. The little flashback was interesting. The naming of that group was terrible, but it was a fun little romp. It's really weird to see like just the surfer just get demolished in one issue, but yeah. What about yourself, bud?
I didn't hate this issue. I feel maybe like this might be where some of the cracks are starting to show a little bit. As far as just this take on the Fantastic Four, there were some of those continuity mistakes, like you just mentioned with Doom's eyes. And I'm actually going to get into a little bit more of that here in a little bit. But there's a lot going on in this issue, but also,
Nothing. It doesn't really
yeah,
feel like it went anywhere.
yeah. I mean, granted, you did get Super Skrull, like the big culmination of Wingfoot's plan here, or Imposter Wingfoot rather. But yeah, I don't know. You get the setup for Doom, the callback to Fantastic Four Volume 1, number 5, first order. Fine, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Like it still has that greatest hits vibe. Like I've been calling out the callbacks as they've been happening. But yeah, I don't know. To me, this maybe from a writing standpoint and even a bit of visual standpoint feels a little weaker than what's come before.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the fact that there was the four people doing inking on this, and I'm assuming that was just trying to get this to be on time. That there was definitely stuff that was missed between the inkers.
Well, yeah, multiple inkers like immediately says like rush job behind schedule to me. All right, shall we do our Fantastic Four of the week?
Yeah.
Cool. This week I go first. So I'll start with my Fantastic Frame, which the panel that spoke to me the most this issue was actually page 20, panel 4. That is when Doom goes to take a shot at Wyatt, and Ben throws himself between Doom and Wyatt and takes the brunt of the blast. Really like this panel a lot. Really displays the power of Doom because you see that, Ben definitely feels the effects of the blast. He lets out a cry in pain and gets somewhat thrown back by it. But also, he throws himself in there without hesitancy. Really shows that Ben has that heart of the hero.
That's a great panel. I was looking at that panel. I was looking at a couple of Ben panels, but I also when I first was reading it, I was like, oh, look at Ben just doing his best to make sure that someone without superpowers is protected. But he would have jumped in front of it for a Reed or a Sue or Johnny anyway. If he would have done that because he knows he can take the blast, he would have jumped.
He would have done it for you or me or anyone.
Yeah.
What about you, Shane? What was your fantastic frame this issue?
So mine was one that we actually were a little critical of earlier, which was page 7, panel 1-ish, or because the read heads next to it. So 1.5. I don't know what you really want to call
We'll
it.
call it panel 2.
Yeah. The whole get together of them all together, all of the Atomic Knights of the Round Table. It was just a really cool little scene there. Seeing how like you could see each character, like each one's like demeanor. Reed with his arms crossed, two of them hanging out on the barrel. Victor just wanting to storm out, and obviously, Tony just trying to figure out how to make a dollar.
Always the salesman.
Always the salesman.
So you have just to give some context here we'll do from right to left. Like you said, you have Victor kind of off in the corner by himself because honestly, yeah, he's not really a member of the group, right? He's about to leave this group. So it's kind of brilliant design here that he's over more or less by himself in the corner. You also have Bruce Banner over Victor's shoulder, but still kind of separated off from the other four here, which I also think is very cleverly done because Bruce often feels isolated, right? Because of his condition as the Hulk later on. Like we said, Tony always a salesman, but standing right next to Tony between him and Banner is Reed Richards. You brought up his body language as he was kind of, I wouldn't want to say being a counterpoint to Tony Stark, but definitely it gives him more of an analytical feel of, yeah, we can make money off of this, but how exactly can we make this the best it can be? And then just past Tony on his left, you have Hank Pym and then Rebel O'Reilly both resting on this barrel. Yeah, no, it's a fun panel.
I really liked just seeing them all there, and then the fact that they were able to get a lot of character out of a panel, out of like a real old, like a flashback panel. It really shows you like where all of the characters are at right in that specific time.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and move on to your grim grumbling for this week.
So,
What did you pick out here?
so it is going to be technically it's page 13, panel 6 when Sue gets put into that little electric thing. And it's because in the beginning, so if you go back to page 11, you have that thing where she makes the bubble and pushes off the guy and punches Doom with the little punch out of the her force bubble there.
Right.
Like she's a powerful character. Why are we making her the damsel in distress? Like they could have made anyone else the damsel in distress. They didn't have to specifically do Sue. This felt very, for lack of a better way of doing it, very Stan. Felt like a very Stanley approach to handling Sue. They did such a good job of making her a strong character up into this issue, and then like even in the beginning, and then they were like, you know what, we're gonna walk that back.
I can see your point. I can also see the fact that she is, Reed's girlfriend, fiance at this point, and therefore Doom's utilizing someone close to Reed. But no, seeing Sue as a damsel in distress does kind of feel like a step backward. Again, you could look at it as another callback to Fantastic Four #5, where he held Sue hostage to get Reed and the others to do what he wanted. But yeah, some things we don't need to necessarily revisit.
Yeah, that's one of them. Sorry. So that was my grumble. Well, what was yours, buddy?
So, I have to go through and do a couple examples on this because mine comes down to Doom's mask. So I'm going to take you through some examples of what bothers me here with this. Let's go and take a look at page 5, where Doom has teeth showing through his mask. Normally he has like a guard of some sort there. No, right there he just has teeth.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
no,
I totally bypassed that. That is there.
and now we're going to go to the next page on page 6 and go to panel 8. That armor has lips.
Absolutely does. Has amazingly lips.
Yeah, just really like full lips. Like, geez.
Yeah. Do you want to make out with
Um,
it now?
not particularly. And then we'll jump 2 pages to page 8, panel 8, where once again it's not as defined, but it definitely looks like he has teeth there in that panel. There's just a slit
Oh, that's the same thing with
instead of that
the
guard.
no eye cover on the panel above that.
Yeah. And then let's jump another 2 pages to page 10, panels 3 and 4, where the mouth is closed into a frown. It's just to me, it's way too expressive for Doctor Doom. It removes menace. One of the cool things that I like about Doom's mask is that no matter what, there's always like it may have that stagnant expression, but it has that thing of menace. And a good artist, which Jim Lee is, to say the least, a good artist, can tell Doom's expression and emotions with just those exposed eyes and not have to rely on moving the mouth and contorting it into different expressions. Again, page 13, panel 6, it's a less egregious example of the mouth being closed, but like it's still there. It still pulled me out of the story. Yeah, yeah, Doom's Mask really bothered me this issue. There were a couple things that bothered me this issue. The name, the Atomic Knights of the Round Table, almost made the list. Something that's been bothering me the whole series that I almost called out this time is Reed having blue eyes. But like the thing that pulled me out of the story the most this time around was Doom's Mask.
Fair enough. I know that's a big thing for you is Doom's Mask. You bring up Doom's Mask a lot of times when we're even just reading something that Doom just pops into.
Yeah.
You're very particular about that Doom Mask, buddy.
What can I say? There's a standard that I hold Doctor Doom's mask to.
No, that is completely fine. I'm not judging you for it. I'm saying that that's you notice it, and I think there will be people that won't even notice something like that. Like I skipped the fact that his teeth were showing because I just automatically my brain does the thing like when you read words that are like messed up. Like if you read a word, but you know, like read a word that's written, but the letters are out of sync, but you know what the word's supposed to be, you automatically read it as the right word. That
Hmm.
like I just automatically see those as his mouth is closed.
With artwork, I have problems with my brain not doing that. So
It doesn't do it all the time. It's definitely Doom's Mask. Doom's Mask is one of those things I just overlook a lot.
move on here to something a little less critical. We'll do the cosmic hanger for this issue. Mine was page 8, panel 9, as far as what built suspense for me the most, which is Doom holding his hand out as that door opens. Behold, the key to unlimited power. You know, the hand itself is menacing, the Kirby crackle. What's behind this door? What is the key to unlimited power? It's a great setup. And the next page doesn't disappoint with seeing the Silver Surfer and whatnot. But yeah, chills looking at that panel prior to that.
Oh yeah, the next page doesn't disappoint, and that's a great shot. That was one of my ones in contention, but I did not go with that one.
Which one did you go with?
I went with page 18, panel 5. The one where Reed goes to reach out to touch the thing and Doom stops him because it's like I wanted to see what was going to happen next. Was Doom going to just grab it right afterwards, or was Reed going to just be like, "No, really, I'll try it."
That would have almost been more interesting, right? Like Reed just grabbed it. Now I am the Herald of Galactus.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like Reed just being like, "All right, I'll call your bluff. Here, boom."
I will say this, Shane. Reed Richards with the power cosmic is the one way I would accept him doing some of the crazy stuff he does with his stretching in the current run of Fantastic Four comics.
Well, there you go. He has the power cosmic, and you it's now canon. You're welcome. But yeah, it didn't really disappoint because eventually you see it get Scroll because Scroll's the one that does it. But like, I would have really liked to see Reed try to at least just be like, hold it and be like, yeah, see, told you, it works.
That would have been a fun moment. All right, Shane, who was your MFP, most fantastic player for this issue?
Um, so I went with a weird one because it just seemed to be the one to go with, and I went with it being Wyatt for him getting them to come out and go and rescue Reed and Sue. And be like and like kind of tell them along the way, like, no, don't do this, this is a trap.
All right, no, I can see it. Uh, when I was going through doing my tally of what characters had done that in this issue that was effective and useful, Wyatt was one of the people I had in contention for MFP. So yeah, no, I think calling Wyatt an MFP is definitely a viable option. It's a valid option.
So what was your MFP?
My MFP was Black Panther. After going through, because this one was a hard one for me, I came down to it being a kind of a three-way contest between Ben and Wyatt and T'Challa, and I ended up going with T'Challa as he ended up maximizing the damage potential coming off of Sue's distraction. He escapes in the chaos of that as well, which allows him to get to Ben and Johnny and Wyatt and save them from being overwhelmed by the servo guards. Like that is a huge pivotal moment in Reed and Sue being freed this issue. He's also able to recognize Wyatt as the genuine article via his enhanced senses, despite never actually having met him before. So all of this stuff that T'Challa does really drives forward the plot. So yeah, he's the one I decided to give MFP to this issue.
I mean, that's a good one. He was definitely in contention for me. This one was a really weird one to try to pick one specific one out. It was between Black Panther and Wyatt, but Black Panther to me just did a little less. He did a lot with what he did, but like without Wyatt basically convincing the boys to leave the Baxter building, I don't know what would happen to Reed and Sue.
Yeah, and I mean, without Black Panther being there to save Wyatt and the boys, I also don't know what would happen to Reed and Sue. So it all comes down to that and how you look at it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for those of you who want to read this story, you can either sort through the back issue bin of your local comic book store. You may also find a copy of Marvel Heroes Reborn #5, which was a double-sized magazine which reprints this as well as Heroes Reborn Iron Man #5, and that was cover dated for January of 1998. There was also the trade paperback put out of the entire collection of Heroes Reborn Fantastic Four in October of 2006. Or you can do what I did today and read it out of the Heroes Reborn Omnibus that was published in June of 2021. Or it's also on Marvel Unlimited.
Of course it is. Everything's on Marvel Unlimited.
Not everything. There's some stuff I want to
Well,
cover on here on this show that is not on Marvel Unlimited, so we're going to have to figure some of that out. Speaking of Marvel Unlimited and things I would like to cover on this show, did you see that they released two digital only DC Marvel crossovers today?
yeah, I did. I did see that.
Yeah, and the one I want to cover on this show is not on Marvel Unlimited, it's on DC Infinite. So I'm gonna have to re-up my subscription for that after literal years so we
Um,
can cover Fantastic Four Flash. Well, Shane, are you interested in hearing what we are covering next week?
yeah.
So it's going to be the first week of the month, which means we're jumping back to Stan and Jack with Fantastic Four Volume 1, #8. This
Yeah.
is a pretty pivotal issue that we have coming up next week. Can you take a guess why?
Nope, because I don't look forward, I don't look ahead. So,
Do you want to be surprised?
sure, yeah.
Then we'll just leave both you and our listeners in suspense for next week. But I will say there's some very important first appearances in Fantastic Four Volume 1, #8. And we look forward to seeing you back here next week for that deep dive. As always, guys and gals, your feedback is important to us. We would highly appreciate it if you could hop on Apple, leave us a 5-star review. You can also comment or leave a review on Spotify. Follow us, subscribe to us on your preferred listening platform so we can show up in your feed each and every week. Join us on Facebook at the Fantastic Four Fancast, where we, encourage you to engage in FF related discussions and share Fantastic Four content. There are group rules there. The most important one to us is being respectful of your fellow Fantastic Four fans. Just adhere to those rules. You'll be fine. And also engage with us on Instagram, which is at Fan4Fancast. Again, that is FAN, the number 4, FANCAST. And you can contact us by email at fan4fancast@gmail.com. I'll go over that again as FAN, the number 4, FANCAST@gmail.com. But, we've been here for 25 episodes. We hope you'll join us for 25 more and be here with us at issue 50.
Yeah. Episode 50 is the goal.
I mean, we hope to be here for much longer than that, but yeah,
Yeah, I'm just saying
we
that's like we hit milestone one. We're not now on to milestone two.
yeah,
And then we
very
hit
true.
50. Milestone three is 100.
Yep.
Then milestone 100, it's 200. Like let's go with small victories here, buddy.
You know what, Shane? That is very true. If we see the same listeners that we have and even more at episode 50, I will continue to call this show a success.
We're we're getting there. Thank you guys for listening.
Yeah, we highly appreciate it. So until next week, Shane and I hope you stay fantastic.